Hello, and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, home of Us, and long awkward stares at the beginning of Us. I'm Josh, that's Brad, and with no further ado, let's go right into our highlights. Brad,
Okay.
what was your highlight of the week?
I still haven't gotten out of Echo Arena. I don't even know what I'm doing here right now because you
We're
don't
still in
appear
there.
to be robotic. I know. I think that
You
this
only
is
seem
just,
to you're here. You're still an echo.
this has become, Echo? This has become a virtual reality environment for me right now, Josh. It's a very strange thing because I'm so used to being in the arena that this is a unique environment. I'm enjoying it. It's kind of different. I really haven't played anything other than Echo Arena, seriously, since I've been in there for two reasons. Number one, now that they've started opening up the beta waves. Oh wow, that sounded so neurological, didn't it? Now that they've started
Like
opening up the
the
waves for
beta
the
waves.
beta,
What about the gamma waves?
I know, and the delta and theta. I can't imagine what's going to happen. But now that we have a number of people joining in, a lot of them seem to be able to achieve pretty high skill sets pretty quickly. So I have to get in there pretty often to
Yeah, it
stay
makes
somewhat competitive.
yes. And we need to figure out how to uh, stabilize everybody's pings so that we're not 60 milliseconds in one game and 160 milliseconds in the next game.
Well, and it's not just your own ping, it's that sometimes it happens during a game, and
Yeah, and uh, supposedly it's supposed to be um, you know, if you've got a European in there, you might accidentally be connecting to their server instead of them just connecting to our server. So if everybody here in North America had the high pings and the European had the low ping, then we're on the EU servers. The
right.
vice versa, we're on the North American servers. But also, even when it varies so much game to game, and I'm not sure what exactly the factors are that influence it. Because I'm at the same spot in my house every time. I'm on the same Wi-Fi. I'm the only one on my Wi-Fi.
Right. It should be
So
identical every time you get
right,
on, or
right,
within five of each other.
right,
Like if you're
right,
normally between the rate of, say, 20 and 30, okay,
right,
fine. But when you get on and you're 20 and you get off and the next time you go in, it's 180 or
right,
250, and you're going,
right,
there's a difference. There's a
right,
difference in the speed of which I can get to something. It's
right.
like, why am I flying through marmalade as opposed to non-gravity nothing? It's
Because marmalade tastes better.
Well, that's true. I'm enjoying the experience, on that sensual level, but in actually reaching the disc, it's very frustrating. Don't go
Yeah.
diving into marmalade for discs. That's my best.
I prefer molasses myself.
At this point, any non-viscous fluid would be something that I would like to be able to.
To avoid.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, as it turns out, my highlight of the week was also Echo.
Shocking.
I know. Yeah. Unfortunately, a not highlight part of that was this. I don't know if this is showing very well, but I got a sports injury playing Echo.
Yep.
I slammed my hand trying to do a backhand slap shot of the disc away before the other team got it. And in real life, I have smacked right into a paint palette that was on our couch. I don't know why it was on our couch, but I have slammed into it going like that fast.
And that is the other part about Echo is that the Guardian tends to be a little slow in keeping up with you since the
Well,
game is so
yeah,
quick.
I am thinking that maybe a good idea to go into the settings and turn up the sensitivity or how far away, but then it'll be up all the time if
Right.
you're in a guardian like mine.
Right, and the whole point is even if you move 6 inches closer and it sets off the guardian, and yet you're nowhere near where you
Right,
should be in the arena.
right.
The
And
other
it,
problem,
yeah, it kind of trains you to ignore the guardian when it's up because it pops up all the time and I haven't even gone this far
right?
away from the center, but because it's the speed at which I'm moving,
Right.
I'm going like that, you know.
I know there's a tracking issue, and it's considering the speed and the amount of players and everything that's going on. It's really a minimal tracking issue, but once again, considering the speed and everything that's going on, that minimal tracking issue becomes maximal in terms of
Right.
play on a
And
competitive level.
if it weren't nice weather right now, but it's a little bit more overcast and gray, I would try taking it outside and just playing outside in the nice overcast but not rainy weather. But it's way too bright out there right now for me
Yeah.
to be able to play.
I know that. Well, I think that's going to be pretty much a problem straight through the summer, except for timing the clouds between the rain and that bright sun.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering, except it probably wouldn't be a good idea, but if there were a way to put sunglasses on the camera
Hmm.
on the Quest, so that it turns everything down, so that when you go out in that bright sunlight, it's like half as bright because you've got the sunglasses over the lenses. I don't know.
Well, I get, the thing is, what type of light does the sensor run off of, or is it just black and white?
Infrared.
If it's infrared, then
Well,
no.
the controllers use infrared.
Right.
Um, the actual inside out is like ultraviolet. So you wouldn't want too many of the ultraviolet rays blocked by those. But
That's what I'm
I
saying.
wasn't meaning actual just sunglasses because that'd be kind of awkward to have glasses put here and put there and
I realize that, but having
yeah,
been, but
but
having done,
a dark tinted plastic.
okay,
You know?
having, but yeah, but then
Yeah.
you also need it to be circular as well, because
Oh yeah.
otherwise, no, no,
Yeah.
not just
Realize
circular
how
in
the
shape.
plastic can be to cut into shapes.
No, no, not just circular in shape. In other words, like when you do photography,
A
if
dome.
you're not just the dome also, but like when you use an ultraviolet lens, if you have, I'm sorry
Um,
if I'm boring you,
no,
but
no,
anyway,
I'm listening.
okay, the light
So
comes in at a certain
you're
angle.
nitpicking.
Okay. Anyway, the light comes in at a certain angle, so I
Well,
think
yeah,
that
that's what why I said a dome. Instead of a flat piece, but just like that, so that it's not blocking certain angles. You know,
right.
obviously, it wouldn't be just oh, sure, just take some dark tape and tape, or
No,
whatever.
no, my whole point was just that with ultraviolet light, and what I'm saying is in photography, and I'll make this really short, is the fact that the reason that it's circular is because when the sun is coming at different angles, unless you're able to rotate that,
Well,
on
that's a
some angles it's
polarizing
going to
lens.
be darker and some it's going to be
Right.
lighter.
That's a polarizing lens. I wasn't talking about a polarizing.
But you would need that if
No.
you're going to be blocking ultraviolet light from a sensor, yes.
Well, no. It it uses ultraviolet light in the
Right,
inside out
right.
tracking, so you wouldn't want to block a lot of the ultraviolet light.
But some of it,
Yeah,
yes.
and some of it is just naturally blocked by just regular plastic.
Right.
So, uh, I think you're possibly being a little too technical and concerned about that. I, I was just meaning it as an offhanded comment, anyways, because I'm not going to try to engineer
Invent it.
something like that.
Got it.
But
Okay, it's an interesting
but
idea, though.
but if there were something like that available, that would help.
Sure.
And um, there are filters for cameras that are polarizing filters. There are also filters that are just shade that don't polarize. It's just a solid tint to minimize how much light is coming in.
Right.
Like if you want to do photography of the sun, or if you want to do infrared, um,
Different
in the
filter.
daylight, you apply a dark red filter that's just a solid red, but it's really, 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 really dark, almost black, so that it blocks out almost everything except the infrared.
Right.
So, and that and on that one, it doesn't matter how you turn it; it's going to work the same because it's not a polarized filter. It's not a polarizing filter. It's not only letting in wavicles oriented that way, it's letting in all orientations.
Understood. No, I was just concerned
So,
with the ultraviolet and infrared and trying to block one, not the other,
well,
and
no,
still
I
keep
wasn't.
them the tracking.
I wasn't talking about blocking one specific wavelength. I was talking about like, uh, okay, I've got a light then back of here. I put this there. Sunlight is still going through, hitting the wall, but all of the wavelength is being blocked or not blocked. I'm not blocking any specific wavelength.
Right.
So,
Okay.
anyways, moving on from our fascinating
Yeah, Mr.
technical
Science
discussion.
episode. Okay.
um, Another highlight that I had this week was I finally got to try out Sansar. It's one I've been wanting to try out for a while. Um, and my laptop was not quite up to snuff to be able to play it in the non-VR way.
Hmm.
Um, but I finally got it installed and working on my Shadow desktop. And so I got to check that out. I used to play Second Life way back when. Given that this was made by Linden Labs, the creators of Second Life, I've been wanting to check it out. And of
Hmm.
course, I get to check it out after it was sold to Wookiee. So,
And how did you enjoy your Wookiee experience going through Linden Lab world?
well, it it definitely is like Second Life, and yet not like Second Life at the same time. Um, um, you've got you can buy clothing items and whatnot. You can make clothing items. You can make your own worlds and islands and whatnot. All that's kind of the, the the same, and they've got events and they've got destinations, and it's kind of the same mechanic, but it's different because they went for, as far as I can tell, you can't upload your own player model, or maybe you can. I don't know. I haven't looked into that much yet, but um, it looks like their their player model is what you have to, to work with,
Mhm.
and you can upload hair and clothing and the other stuff, just not the underlying human shape. I think you can edit some of the features of the shape, but you can't just replace it with a custom shape like you could in Second Life. In Second Life, people could uh, upload a really weird and deformed shape so that you could become a dragon or whatever.
Right.
And this, it looks like you are not able to touch that, but and it has kind of a game built into it as well. So it's not only just a free form social experience, but there's also a series of quests that you should go through that also result in you earning in-game currency, so you can go out and buy items.
Okay.
So,
Sounds cool. How is it though on a technological level compared? Because on Second Life, you had to be very good with a computer to be able to hierarchically store your items and hierarchically, you had to be familiar with the hierarchical structure. Whereas like
well,
in
it
Orbis, you open a
automatically
chest, you know.
it automatically had everything in a hierarchical structure in your inventory, unless you just and if you had anything that was not in a hierarchical structure, you could just search your inventory for it. So it wasn't really that so technical a thing. My wife had no issues with it, and she's less technically inclined than I am. So, anyways, moving on, but staying somewhat related, I also checked out the VR Chat Virtual Market 4, again using Shadow, because unlike Virtual Market 3, which I had spoke about on my own channel back then, is not available on Quest. So the last Virtual Market, they had a Quest version, and this Virtual Market, they don't have a Quest version. Not really sure why. Possibly they didn't get as many sales coming from the Quest version as they wanted. I don't know. But anyways, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a big avatar and accessories, etc. marketplace where you can try out, look at, and buy new avatars and new animations. Some of the things there are tools for making things, etc. And you got these huge worlds created for it. One of the worlds is Parareal Tokyo. So here's a version of Tokyo condensed into a smaller space, I do believe. And there's a giant statue of Ultraman. There's a giant statue of what kind of looks like Voltron, etc. One of the first things that you see when you go in to the main world there is an Audi booth. There's a car on the bridge as you are walking, and if you click on the car, it teleports you over to the Audi booth over here, where you can spawn a car and watch it form out of a fountain of electrical sparks and whatnot, and then you get in it, and it drives you very, very slowly through a track, and it's got information and billboards and posters and whatnot. And there was a Marvel exhibit there where you could watch a few Marvel trailers. There was a Netflix room there where it was showing some Netflix stuff, and they had a big sign there saying, "Please do not record."
I'm sure that stopped everybody.
I know, right?
So you liked it? I mean, would
Oh,
you?
it's entertaining. It it's also kind of like just wandering around the mall and window shopping and people watching. So,
So you liked it a little bit.
well, it 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 has its moment. Most of the, I mean, if you don't like anime stuff, you're not gonna like it because 99.98% of what's there it is anime related, and 97.99% of that is all female avatars. So
Because of the incredible population of women in the VR world.
yes, exactly.
That must be it. Okay, I'm not going to go there. Let's just.
So, well, no, I mean, just wandering around looking at the stuff, trying it on if you want, whatever. I mean, and the environments that they have are cool and immersive environments. I mean, Parareal Tokyo was a really cool and well done space. There was another one. I forget what it was called now, but it was like Edge of the World Dystopia or whatever, and has like these vast ruins, and there's a waterfall, and there's pipes, and like a dystopian environment,
Right. When you say
and there's
dystopian, that
a
pretty
few
much.
um, discarded robots lying around, staring down and whatnot. So it's a really cool environment. They even have an environment called Default Cube.
Huh?
You go into that and you're surrounded by black, and there's a white cube in front of you. When you click on that, it asks you if you are ready, and then it expands into a bigger cube you are in, and then you are in the environment with other people. A vast, featureless white environment with a small cube in front of you with multiple colors. You rotate it, and then the spheres pop up, and whichever one you say click on there, the storefront materializes in front of you, and then you can go in and explore around, and then come back out to the different one, and the storefront morphs into another one. So,
Okay, so get ready for the trip, huh? It sounds like
something like that. Yeah. And the last of my highlights was I downloaded something off of SideQuest called Rocket Launch VR XR. I got that for my 8-year-old who really likes rockets and whatnot. And what this is you're in an environment. There is a poster here filled with all kinds of rockets from the very first one to the most modern SpaceX one. And in this version of it, if you go and you purchase it on it, it unlocks more, but it's got 4 rockets that you can pull out of the poster and then place it on a pedestal, and there's a voiceover reading information to you, but if you want, you can just turn around and look behind you, and there is an informational Wikipedia or whatever page on it. And then you have the option of launching the model rocket version of it, or launching the full-size version of it. If you click full size, it comes out of the ground in front of you. And I first did the most recent SpaceX one, and I'm like, watching it go up.
Sounds pretty impressive, actually.
And then you can click launch, watch it launch, and yeah. With model rocket, it also comes back down with a parachute, and supposedly there's a way to try to catch it before it hits the ground. So it's a pretty cool app, and it's a very educational app because it talks about each of the rockets, and it's got all the information set behind you for you to read. So
cool.
Now let's move into our new releases of the week, all of which totally not anticipated. First of all, we have Let's Create Pottery VR. That came out of left field, and yeah, it's 1999. It's been out on Steam for a while before now, but now it's out on Oculus. And what it is, as the name suggests, you get to create pottery in VR. It has got a story mode where you get orders from people wanting a custom vase or a custom whatever, and you do your best to match what they want, and you can shape it so that it's wide and like that, or narrow, or no, and then paint it with whatever color, give it a gloss glaze, a matte glaze, stamp it with various decorations, and then you deliver it to them. And depending on how good a job you did matching what they wanted, you get 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, etc. There's also, you can just make whatever the heck you want and then send it to the auction house, which is not a real auction. It's not real people bidding on it. It's a computer simulating an auction. And depending on how complex it is, how many colors, etc., you get a high price or you get a low price, and you can use those virtual coins to buy new the patterns and colors and decals and whatnot.
Okay.
So, it uses one hand for shaping everything, and the other hand is just a palette of the colors and the decals and the tools and whatnot. So not entirely realistic there, but on the other hand, I have not actually played this yet, but I did used to play the mobile version of the app, and it is well done. It can be a little tricky to try to paint a solid color as opposed to it being darker here, lighter here, but overall it is really well done. The only gripe that I would have with this version is in the mobile version you could take your creation and send it to a 3D printer.
Mm-hmm.
And then week, 2 weeks, whatever later, you would receive it in the mail, and then you could sand it, paint it, etc., and have a little model of what you made in the app. In the VR version, there does not seem to be a way to send it to a 3D printer or to export it, as far as I know. However, in the VR version, it's more immersive and it looks really good. It's got good environments and good lighting, etc. However, while I was researching this to be able to talk about it here, I found that there was another pottery app on Steam called Dojongi, Korean pottery. It's a similar game. You have a career mode, you have freestyle mode, you make stuff according to the orders, or you make stuff to freestyle and you sell it. You know, same mechanics, except in this one, you actually have a wheel that you control with a pedal to make it go faster or slower, and you have a bowl of water for you to dip your hands, yes, hands, both hands in, and you're actually shaping it like you would in real life. In the Let's Create the Pottery one, if you wanted to get taller, you hold your hand over it, click the trigger button, pull up. If you wanted to get wider, same thing, but you pull to the side. If you wanted to get narrower or smaller, just push. In Dojongi, you have to actually shape it like you would a real one, starting at the bottom, working your way up, repeated motions, and if you want to hollow it out, gotta do that, and then reach it, and do that sort of stuff, and so it's much more a simulator.
Right.
But Let's Create Pottery, it's got a much more satisfying looking firing process. When you are going to go stick it in the kiln, you actually get to move it into a kiln, and then there's a short little animation of it baking, and then you got it glazed and everything. In Dojongi, you are holding it, and you say, all right, go ahead and fire it with this glaze. Are you sure? Yep. It's done. And it determined the price that it gets auctioned for right there.
Right.
Let's Create Pottery, you get to decide, okay, I'm going to keep it on a pedestal for mine, or I'm going to send it to the auction house, and then you get to watch a little the simulated bid war on it.
Okay, so slightly different, but yeah, different.
Right.
Enough.
And in Dojongi, you can get an OBJ or an, I believe, FBX file of it. So basically a 3D model format that you can then send to a 3D printer. So, and it's the same price. So I'm considering doing a side by side at some point, comparing them. I kind of hate abusing or appearing to abuse the refund policy of either platform, but I was like, well, I don't know which one I would actually enjoy more. So maybe if I get both, give them both under the refund window, and then keep the one I want, and refund the one I don't, and then I've got a side by side video I can talk about on my channel too. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, too confusing. Go.
Yeah. So. Another new release was Rocket Launch XR. I already spoke about that, probably a little bit too long. We had Mystery Forest VR that was on SideQuest that I saw literally moments before we started recording here. It's a forest survival game that is on SideQuest.
I was reading about that, yeah.
Yeah, I have not tried it out yet, but it's got hunger, it's got crafting, etc. It's basically like the forest.
That's exactly what it sounded like. Exactly what I was thinking. So,
I have no clue how good it is yet because I have not tried it. So,
right.
but
Understood.
if you want to try it, it's available now on SideQuest. It was released on there, I think, like 3.5 or 4 hours ago. So it's literally brand new.
Cool.
We have no upcoming titles that we know of. Per the norm lately, we don't know what is coming until it hits us between the eyes. So we're going to move on to news. On May 5th, Echo Arena will be going into open beta. So anybody can join in the Echo Arena bashing your hand fun.
There's more to it than just bashing your hand, but it is fun.
You can also bash your head. No.
Okay.
Well, evidently that happened in Wands one time. One of my friends said that she was dueling someone, and the other person was trying to dodge her attack, and they said that they put their head through the wall.
Oh, that was a rather violent dodge.
I know, right?
I don't know what she was hurling at him. That's pretty funny.
I'm like, oh, so Mike from Jersey Shore is now playing Wands, huh?
Yeah, really. Wow.
So anyways, going back to Echo, in addition to going into open beta on the 5th, on May 13th and 14th, they are going to hold a rookie tournament. So if you are less than 20 in your level, not your age, in your level, or you only just started playing in the last month and a half or so, or you joined during the quest beta, you count as a rookie. And you can enter it. They will be determining teams on the first day of the tournament, and then you get a battle with your teammates over the name of the team and the logo for the team, and then you get to play with the people you were just arguing with. Well,
What
hopefully it doesn't actually go that way.
it's a good.
Some teams, who knows?
It's interesting. I think in this respect, it's good that it's virtual reality, so it doesn't turn into an actual punching match in the lobby as you decide the name of the team.
Right. So, and it will be streamed on Twitch and professionally casted on Twitch by the VRML casters. So I am registered for it. It technically begins at 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's not a weekend day. So keep that in mind if you decide you want to sign up for it or not. If you are
excuses ready.
At home with no work and whatnot, because of the quarantine or whatever, hey, you go for it. That'll be fun. If nothing else. So.
It sounds, actually, if you're playing, I'm sure that anybody who's playing and wants to be competitive will be in the Rookie Cup.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and that will be your chance to get noticed by the pro teams who are going to be looking at all of us and deciding who they want to poach. I know they're already recruiting Michael.
Mike Bot, he's no longer Michael. He has become one with the machine. He is.
Yeah, level 50s hanging out with him all the time, going, "Hey, I want to play with you later on."
No, they want to
Because
play with him
he is a
now.
goalie, and he's a good goalie, and good goalies are rare in
A
this.
good
So,
goalie is
so
worth their
any good
weight.
goalie is going to stand out and get courted.
Right.
So,
A good goalie is worth their weight in gold.
in bits,
Bits.
in bits and bytes.
But oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Mike Bot, yeah, he's gone. We know. Some team's gonna poach him out real quick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. In other news, Down the Rabbit Hole. Speaking of wands, as I was just a little bit ago, Down the Rabbit Hole is now out for PSVR. So people who use PlayStation can now enjoy the wonderland that is Down the Rabbit Hole.
and would you recommend it to them?
Oh yeah, it's a good game. It's a short game. It's only like 2 hours, 2.5 or so. If you are taking your time and looking at everything, but you can always go through it again if you just didn't gather all the invitations, or if you want to make different choices, etc. So it's got some replay value, and it's a very well done game. So,
Yeah, I would like to try
oh
it
yeah,
at some point. I'm
so
just thinking, it's
it's,
funny though how you mentioned replayability, and I'm thinking, and 2.5 hours, and I'm thinking about Echo again because how can I think of anything else? And it's like, replayability. Yeah, I think it's
Echo
got that.
has zero replayability.
Zero replayability and probably less than half an hour's worth of playtime in the game, and then you'll never go back to it.
No. Speaking of replayability, the Under Presents is presenting some extra replayability because they have new live content. Um, I had the page pulled up. Now I don't anymore, but like 5 p.m. Fridays or 5 p.m. weekdays, I forget which. And I believe this is East Coast time, but I'm not sure. It might be Pacific time. And 7 p.m. Saturdays, they have new stage acts on the stage, and they are going to be live. So if you have Under Presents and you've been wanting more of the live actors, now you got your wish.
Ta-da-ta-da-ta-ta.
More really bizarre acts like bringing people up so that they can eat fish cakes or something. So
I think I'm going to hold off on the under for a little while, and I'll eat the fish cakes on my own in private. Thank you, sir.
okay. Um, I won a game show in there one time. It was called "Don't Push the Button." One person got up there before me. He goes, he went in to the bird cage.
And you won.
I got up there. I'm like,
And that's what it took to win, huh?
yep. All it took was not pushing the button. Easiest
Okay.
game show ever.
I was going to say that seems like the instructions and the winning strategy was built into the title.
Yeah. In other news, we have, I'm not sure how you are supposed to pronounce this. Apocular is APO capital Q LAR. HoloLens app for HoloMedicine, which allows for real-time AR overlays during surgery and whatnot. We are I've seen a lot of medical use for the AR glasses, especially. Um, a couple episodes ago, I believe it was, we were talking about the holographic doctor that you could have,
Right.
a holographic doctor visit using the HoloLens. And now there is this one that I ran across. So, there's a lot of strides being made and a lot of really cool uses being found in the world of medicine. So,
Well, it's interesting how they use virtual reality to train them because then they can place them in the hospital environment
right,
and then use augmented reality during the actual procedure in order to bring the digital world outside so they can,
right,
which is
yeah,
fantastic. I mean,
yeah,
that is,
yeah,
there's a symmetry to that that's beautiful.
yeah. In less than good news, Valve has dropped Steam VR support on Mac
Mhm.
OS. I bet you didn't know that they had Mac OS support, did you?
No, and I didn't care either, not having participated
Yeah.
in that world.
So back in 2017, when Apple got into the game a little bit, they had Mac OS
Very little bit.
support for Steam VR.
Right.
But less than 24 games over this past 3 years got ported to be able to be played with macOS.
Mm-hmm.
So earlier this week, Valve quietly dropped support for it. If you had it, you still have it. And if you wanted, you can go on to the beta channel and activate that, the beta version of it or whatever. But it's no longer being supported from here out.
Right.
So, which is a shame. But on the other hand, it didn't really kick off very much in the Apple world.
No,
So,
you never really saw too many Mac gamers. No.
right. So it's an understandable decision on their part.
It is. It really is. It would sort of be like going back and trying to port the Rift games to the Nintendo 64. It's just,
Right.
why bother? Why
Right.
bother?
On the other hand, what is not an understandable decision is John McAfee wanting to buy the Grand Canyon in Somnium Space for $100,000.
Mm-hmm. No, it's worth much more.
But that is John McAfee for you.
Now, is he going to use Bitcoin or is he going
I
to?
don't know. Probably.
I was going to say, then it would make perfect sense. You
Right.
know, I have no problem at that point, but
Right, but yeah, I don't know that right now any virtual land is really worth $100,000.
I don't know that any property is worth
If he wants
$100,000.
to pay that much for him, and if Somnium the space is willing to accept that from him, hey, I've got no problem with it. I'm not really sure that it's a sound business decision.
No, I wouldn't say so either, but I guess there have been worse decisions that have been made in the past that turned out okay, but
There have definitely been worse decisions made by John McAfee, too.
yeah, that's true.
One decision in specific that I will not mention on this show.
Okay.
I will tell you later.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Meanwhile, there's the last bit of news that I think maybe you want to talk about instead.
I do.
Quest 128 gigabyte.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't believe about that. They're saying, I saw last week that they were saying that the Quest is starting to dribble back in and keep your eye out. And then last night or this morning, I was reading the Quest 128 is back in stock. The 64, I don't think you're going to find many of those.
Right.
But the 128s, yeah, those you can find. And also they said the Rift S you're being able to find those in stock as well,
Mm.
which I know we've spoken with players in Echo, which
Mhm.
really is a test of tracking. I mean, if you want to ever test tracking on a mobile device, this is the one.
Right.
And the Rift really isn't mobile, so they're still tethered.
Right.
But they get the graphic boost and
Right. They get a
some
little
of
bit
the
better
speed
graphics and
boost.
everything. Right.
So yeah, but it's interesting because I have to say when I play tethered, you do accommodate the tether to whatever degree you
Well,
can.
yeah,
But when
because
I play
you have
tether,
to, otherwise
right,
you to pull it out and everything goes.
yeah, and that's very disorienting,
Yeah.
and tends to make you less of a league player. Uh,
Yes.
but when I'm using my Quest, I could start at one end of my house and end up literally if there's nothing obstructing me, 25 feet away at the end of
Yes.
the game, and not
Yes.
have realized I moved.
Yeah.
It's
Well, if your guardian is big enough, yes.
well, no, my
In
guardian
my
is
case,
moving.
my guardian is not big enough to let me go all the way across like that. But it was, but yeah,
I've literally had my guardian move with me. It's
yeah.
like.
Um, I think Michael has had that issue too. I've never had that issue, so I don't know.
Well, I know that I've had the Guardian up, and even though the Guardian was up, there was a wall where the Guardian used to be.
Right.
So the Guardian sort of like moved to
Yeah.
a few inches to the right and decided.
Weird.
I know, it's like strange. It's almost like it gets picked up by the headset and it moves with the headset as opposed
Right.
to being stationary on the ground where you were supposed to have planted it.
Right.
And that's exactly as I'm saying it to you, that's exactly what happens. It's like it becomes undetached from the ground and
Right.
you're just carrying it around with you. It's your guardian
Right.
relative to you, not to the room. So,
Right. Well, um, Michael has had that happen with the Quest.
right.
It sounds like you were just talking about
No, no, I'm
yeah,
sorry if I
putting
mixed it up.
the headset on the ground.
No, no, this is with the Quest. I'm saying
Yeah.
it's a bizarre thing.
So instead of being anchored to the ground after you put the controller on the ground
Right.
or floor level, and you draw out the outline. That's,
Exactly. Once you've drawn the outline, it's still connected to the headset, not to the ground.
well,
And
it shouldn't be connected to the headset at all. It's because you draw the outline and you set the floor level with the controller, not the
right,
headset.
exactly. But that's what I'm saying is
Yeah,
that for some reason the headset becomes unaware of the ground and lets the Guardian move with
right.
you.
Uh, Weird.
Not often, but when
But
it does,
what I have had happen with mine, it happening in version 16, it was happening occasionally in version 15 as well, and I think 14. Um, is I will put my headset on, and I'm standing in the spot I normally am, so facing it in the direction I normally am, but the home screen is over there,
always. For me,
or
that's always.
is to my left and pointing that way. So I have to step to my left and then turn around and face that. I'm like,
I just press the Oculus button.
it's supposed to default to right in front of you wherever you are when you put it on, really. You know?
Right, but when you say right default to you, I mean, I've had it default to me where it's here, and I've had it
Well,
default to
it's
me
not
20
supposed
feet.
to
Yeah,
default to you there. No, that's a little too close. It's a little
yeah.
too much in your face.
That's exactly, it was in my head. It was like in between my face and the back of my head. So yeah, it was
It was bisecting
definitely,
you.
yes, it was. It was much too personal an experience for me. Thank you.
Alien autopsy.
Ooh, I have that on DVD actually, if you'd like to share screen and I'll put it in here in my,
No, I'm good.
okay.
So, anyways, I think that about wraps up what we've got. Unless you've got anything else.
I have an echo match, I think, in about 10 minutes, so this is pretty good timing.
Well, that worked out then. Okay.
But no, I don't have anything else to add to this particular show, I think. Did we actually run over an hour?
No, it's showing you 54 minutes and 20 seconds as of now.
Wow, we must have forgotten something. I guess
Nope.
later we'll.
No, we just didn't go on for an hour on on one subject like we did last time.
That's true. Yeah, we must be burning out on Echo, I guess. Um,
I hope not. We'll
I
never
hope
make
not too.
it such as big leagues if we burn out now.
Oh no, I know. The other night I had to just stop for a little while because I realized it's no burnout yet, please. Better to take a break.
Yes. So, on that note, that's it for us. Goodbye. Have a great week by the time you get this, because it'll be Sunday probably, and the weekend will be over. And we will see you later.
Ooh.
Like, subscribe, coerce your friends to also do so. Bye.
Bye.